Hello, viewers. Welcome to MBTV Weekly Property Roundup. We bring to you top developments from Indian real estate space, which is going to have a lasting impact on you as a consumer. I am Prasun Kumar, Marketing Head of Magicbricks, and with me is Jayashree Kurup, Senior Real Estate Journalist and Editor-in-Chief of MBTV. Welcome, Jayashree.
Thanks, Prasun.
So, some important developments did happen last week, Jayashree, and let's straight get onto those. First is we have always been talking about how RERA needs to be strengthened, how it needs to be given more teeth, and how its orders need to be implemented with more vigor. And you also have advocated in past, I think, about judicial powers to be given to RERA and so on and so forth. Now we do see some RERA regulators taking up the mantle and starting to enforce at least their orders. UP-RERA, for example, decided to penalize two developers, or actually more than 11 developers, for non-compliance of its orders, and the penalties to the tune of 2.5 crores, all put together. So while penalty amount may seem small at this point of time, how important a step is this, and how will it ensure that compliances and RERA's orders are therefore taken seriously by developers?
Prasun, these are not small penalties. They can charge up to 5% of project cost. 5% of project cost is a whopping amount, and it was supposed to be a big amount so that it is a deterrent. Till now, what we've noticed is that people are not able to get orders implemented because RERA did not have the implementation authority. They have to go to the district magistrate to get it done. Now, all RERAs have been saying that this needs to be fixed. But even in that, what different RERAs have started doing is they've actually interpreted the law and said, where can we get it enforced? You can get it enforced by issuing penalties, right? And these 11 developers, I mean, over 900 people have complied, and these are 11 developers who have not complied. Now, these 11 developers have to either quickly comply or pay whopping charges. 5% of project cost in a real estate development is huge. So I think RERAs are looking within the law and seeing what they can do to get this implementation done, because this is the one thing that is missing in RERA. And I think it's a very positive move.
All right. So let's hope that this is going to bring in better compliances now. Consumers have been demanding, and we see a whole lot of consumers messaging us as well on our social media handles, asking, is RERA really effective, and so on and so forth. So I think these steps will go a long way. Now, in staying with UP, again, UP-RERA has given close to about 900 projects, developers of 900 projects, both incomplete as well as under construction, about 6 months to finish, their projects, or added 6 months to their delivery timelines because of down related challenges. This is in continuation with the earlier order that we had discussed already. How much of this is going to bring relief to the developers who obviously had a genuine problem of labor and supplies subsequently, and how much all those issues are now resolved and constructions are back on track?
See, Prasun, this was unprecedented, right? Nobody could have even imagined how to function in a situation like this. Now, what they have done is they have given the consumers on the one hand, got that moratorium, and developers on the other hand got those 6 months extra so that you could complete the project. That time projects, there were a lot of ifs and buts on how developers can get their 6-month extension. Now they have said that everybody whose projects were under construction at that time, in whatever stage, they will get 6 months extension. So I think they're trying to balance so that there is no favoritism or things like that. Now a lot of developers came back to us and said, look, we don't need that time. We can finish. They have put extra resources and they have completed. They have caught up with the time that they lost. Many have not. So I think it is a fair justice, and let's see how the market shapes up.
Sure. And also, a lot of viewers are dropping messages right now on our chat platform. We request you to drop your questions, and if possible, we'll take the questions during the discussion. So, Jayashree, moving on to the next news of last week, the Bengaluru Development Authority, or the Bangalore Development Authority (BDA) is going to prepare a fresh master plan for Bengaluru. Now, this entire saga of master plans is what really I wanted to ask you, because we keep moving from one master plan to another master plan and master plans after master plans. How much of these master plans are actually implemented, and how much of these master plans are really academic exercises so far? Is this really a worthwhile exercise to get into, because it also costs a lot of money?
Right. See, Prasun, this particular announcement says that about 16 crore is what is going to be given to the Netherlands-based firm.
Yes.
The same firm had created a master plan which was scrapped 2 years ago when the political this thing changed.
Yeah.
Now, the political dispensation should not change a city's master plan.
Yeah.
And I believe that kind of discipline needs to come into the cities. Do cities need to make master plans? Absolutely. When JNN and URM came, they realized that out of the, I think, 69 cities that they had picked up, not more than 5 had city development plans. If the city is completely unplanned and growing any which way, then you can't plan the services, you can't plan the finances and so on. So it's a very, very important exercise. Delhi NCR is doing the master plan 2041. It is up for consumers to comment on. So I think master planning is a very serious exercise, and it needs to be done with lots of professionals, lots of consumer interactions and so on. Unfortunately, it's also become a political tool, which is where the whole problem arises. You should not have it as a political tool. Master plan should be irrespective of the political dispensation. And I think it's good to have a good master plan. Now, Bengaluru, of course, has its own, there was that Bangalore Development Authority has become its own master. It can raise finances, it can govern the city on its own. It's given an autonomous status. I think this is the next step. Plan the city and move forward. We've seen, if you don't plan, Bangalore, despite all the wealth that it's creating in the city, is not able to get its act together as far as city planning goes.
Sure. And planning for a city which already has more than a crore of population residing in it is always a difficult task.
Absolutely.
I think what is required is to have a plan and then implement it diligently. So that over a period of time you do see the result, rather than keep changing the plans. And
actually, Prasun, what Bangalore has done is they have de-linked themselves from the state finances. They have asked for an autonomous situation, and the mayor and the municipal councillors have been given more powers. They are empowered, which means that actually the master plan should also take into account that it is the ward level planning that aggregates into city level planning. If that is done, it would be very, very efficient.
Absolutely. Now, moving down south further in Tamil Nadu, the Tamil Nadu Real Estate Appellate Tribunal, TNREAT, has observed that amenities and facilities of a housing project, which were originally planned for a certain kind of design approval and a layout approval, cannot be shared or co-shared with others or integrated with others. Namely, if you had a certain approved number of residential units and amenity planned for that, the same amenity cannot be shared for an extended number of residential units in the same project. Now, this is an important development, but in your observation, has this been happening rampantly across, and are developers really getting hold of some loose end of the law here and making good use of it?
Yes, actually what happens is the land could be big. Phases of projects are launched, which means that 2 towers, 3 towers, 5 towers are launched. And those people are promised amenities. Now, the premiumness of properties comes from the number of people who use the amenities. Now, suppose you have the same amenity, let's take a clubhouse, and 100 people are using it, and then 5 more towers are added, and now you find that 500 people are using it, the premiumness of that club would immediately come down because you would be waiting in the queue to use the facilities and things like that, right? Now, what's happened is that developers used to offer anything and then keep changing it as they went along. Now, consumers have been raising the flag on this, saying that this is not on. One, it brings outsiders. Sometimes it's new towers, sometimes it's outsiders, right? And if you bring outsiders inside, then the security is compromised for the residents of the complex.
Yes.
The same thing has happened in Ghaziabad and Indirapuram, and consumers should watch out for this show that we are doing. We are actually doing a deep dig into this. They used to have 5% as commercial properties, which are small shops and things like that, which would facilitate service the consumers living there.
Convenience store types, yes.
Convenience store types. But what happened was many of the developers put that along the edge of the property and opened it outwards. So what happens is that it's no longer your own mini mart. It is something that everybody is coming, and there used to be a big fight over it. Last year, I think in 2019 actually, in the Ghaziabad Development Authority said that they are going to put walls there and not allow this to function. There was a huge outcry by the developers and so on. And the consumers on their side, both sides have taken very hard stances. Now they are slowly trying to resolve this by saying that conveniences that are meant for consumers have to be for the buyers and not for all consumers, from outside, because it compromises safety and it compromises premiumness.
Absolutely. All right. Staying, around in South itself, now Telangana High Court has ruled that the maintenance charged that a person has to pay can be based on flat sizes and not just on a unit basis, which could actually go down to unit metric per square feet level or per square meter level as well. How significant is this development, and how is it going to be beneficial for consumers?
A lot of people will of premium units will have to start paying a lot more. Now, the logic, you see, there have been both sides. There are many which are paying per unit, like if there is one 600 square feet unit and a 1000 square feet unit, because there are two units that use most of the facilities in a similar manner. This is something that was allowed. Now what's happened is that they are saying according to per square meters, which means that premium flats will have to pay more and non-premium flats or smaller units will have to pay less. Now, the logic that is used is flawed. What the judge has said is that if you have a larger flat, there are more people staying there and they use more facilities. That's not true. The census has shown that smaller units have larger families, accommodate larger families, and larger units actually are premium units and accommodate smaller numbers of people. So I think the logic is flawed, but do they use more services? That's debatable. But I think it has stirred up the hornet's nest, and there's going to be a lot of debate around this issue.
We do see a trend, though, Jayashree, that especially in newly constructed projects and apartments otherwise, where the charges are now computed on per square feet or per square meter basis, and therefore the area that you occupy, the real estate that you occupy, you pay for maintenance accordingly.
That's right. And it's good to define these things in the law, Prasun. Over the last, I think, 8 or 10 legal shows that we did, what we noticed was you leave things open-ended. As a result, there's lots left to interpretation, and there is a lot of discord around that. It's good to define it and say that this is a precedent and this is how it will be.
Absolutely, do agree. And Jayashree, we have a few consumers who have been writing to us. Just take a couple of questions that they're asking. One consumer, Mr. Pramod Joshi, is asking about Sector 85 Gurugram and what's the future of that area. I presume he's going to be an investor in that locality. So, do you have a take on Sector 85 Gurugram that you can?
Actually, what I can say is that this is that, the Dwarka Expressway swung its fortunes. Now, what is happening is that there is a new municipality that has been created, the Manesar municipality. So there are many changes happening, and buyers or potential buyers are justifiably anxious about it. The thing is that One, when the expressway is complete, that entire area, not necessarily the ones that are directly on the Dwarka Expressway, but which are in the influence area of Dwarka Expressway, will definitely see a boost. There
Hmm.
will also be enhanced traffic. Remember that the Dwarka Expressway has been connected all the way up to NH48, which means that from the Jaipur highway, traffic that is coming from, say, South Delhi, West Delhi, and so on, Dwarka and so on, will can now have an alternative to reach Gurgaon, which means that they will take the Dwarka Expressway. So there will be enhanced traffic. That's going to be another thing. The connectivity will be better. So that is premium. The traffic will be more. That's not a great idea. But it will also be part of the Delhi Mumbai corridor, industrial corridor.
Yes.
What will happen is you'll see a lot of truck movements also moving along that, from the airport, from the ports coming to the hinterland. You are going to see a lot of truck movement also. So that is the third thing. But more than that, I think what is happening is that they have created huge commercial drivers. The largest convention center in India is going to be based at the mouth of the Dwarka Expressway.
Hmm.
That's good, because that will create there will be exhibitions, there will be conferences and so on. So it will attract a lot of interest. So these are some of the things. And another thing you have to look at is that services are good. There is no waterlogging along that area because the drainage systems have been fixed. Electricity, water, and so on are being fixed. So the prospects, future prospects are good. But even today, I would say residents need to be vigilant and asking for the services that are their rights.
Sure. And he also asked another one, which is, what is the rule for EWS in a society? By EWS, I presume he's meaning economic, because economic.
That's right. When any premium housing society is made according to the Haryana rules, 15% of that land has to be for economically weaker section housing.
Yes.
Now, earlier, what used to happen was they would cut out 60 square yard plots and they would leave it, and it used to be hardly anybody in the weaker section got it. Now there is a move towards getting that made into affordable housing under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. There is a move towards that, but that hasn't completely worked out yet. But it is a 15% of their total project.
Sure. And there are many more questions coming in, Jayashree, but I think we are short on time, and so probably we can tackle that. We'll reply that on our social media handles for all those who are writing into us. This is it for this week, viewers. We'll continue to share important developments from the real estate industry and space with you, so that you can take a far more meaningful decision. Keep watching MBTV, and thank you, Jayashree, for joining.
Thank you, Prasun. Thank you, users, for coming and participating in the conversation. And just, even though we're not picking up the query, for Anil Singh, who has asked about Rajnagar Extension, do watch our shows on Rajnagar Extension. It is a focus area, thrust area for the Ghaziabad Municipal Corporation. And a lot of new infrastructure projects have come. Like I talked about the Dwarka Expressway, there is infrastructure projects coming, and that will impact the prospect.
Probably will tackle your questions in a separate show, and one can do that. And so thank you very much for joining.
Thank you. Bye-bye.